Thanks for coming on, John. I know you're visiting family in Mississippi.
Yeah, thanks for
Well,
having me.
it, most people may not be familiar with your name, but they're familiar with a lot of the stuff you're doing out there in the CrossFit space. And what I'm talking about is primarily your viral Instagram page of Make WODs Great Again. So the first question that I want to talk to you about is what was the inspiration behind that?
I'm not sure there was an inspiration necessarily. My daughters talked me into it. I have two teenage daughters, and they've said since they were little they thought I should go viral. That was their term, not mine. Um, they think I'm funny for whatever reason. And my oldest told me that I needed a Instagram page. I had this Twitter handle that I was using that I would put, kind of funny comments out on. And at the time, it was called CrossFit Trump, which was really just kind of a reaction to the uh, current president winning the election. And I thought it'd be funny to do tweets in the voice of Trump, but about CrossFit. So imagine saying things like, "Oh, my pull-ups are huge," or I've got really really good snatches. They're the best. It's just really stupid things. And so my daughter was like, "Well, you need a meme page." So she created it for me, and she did the very first post and then handed it over to me, and I didn't do anything with it for a while. And when regionals came around last year, I they had a contest to do posts, again, hashtag regionals, and the funniest ones would get aired. So I'm always up for a good challenge, so I just fired off a bunch of memes, and next thing I know, one of them got aired, and I went from having 300 followers to 1,000 followers in like an hour. And I was like, okay, well, that was interesting, so I'll try it again. So I did it again, and a couple of the athletes reposted me, and then I went from 1,000 followers to 2,000 followers. Well, long story short, from like June to August, I grew from the 300,000 or the 300 followers I had to 10,000 followers. Just, I mean, like in 2 months, which at the time felt like just a ridiculous amount. So I quickly changed the name of the page. I didn't want to stick with this kind of Trump theme. I mean, there's no telling how long he'll be in office, and truthfully, I was getting tired of it anyway. But I wanted to, kind of pay homage to, the history of the page, even its short history. And so I changed the name to Make Wise Great Again, just to, kind of as a nod to what I was doing before. And I kept the logo I was using at the same time. And it's just kind of snowballed from there. It's just not. It's actually not only is it not slowed down, it's actually picking up now even. So it's been a really kind of a wild ride.
Well, yeah, talking about picking up, you also have a podcast these days, Make Pods Great Again. And, before we got on, we were talking about your first guest was actually Coach Glassman. So, yeah, you went from deciding to throw up an Instagram page to interviewing the CEO of CrossFit. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's weird.
Are you a comedian in real life? I mean, what's your, real job?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I think I'm funny, but I'm certainly not a comedian. Or at least I don't get paid to do it. I'm a banker. I'm actually an executive banker. I run a region of retail branches in Cleveland, Ohio. I've got 100 employees, 17 branches, manage a little over $1 billion. So yeah, I've got a real job that pays real money. Unlike, I'm sure everyone thinks I'm going to retire on all this meme money I'm raking in, but I kind of like banking, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Is there meme money?
Oh, I'm sure there is somewhere. I'm not realizing it yet, for whatever that's worth. I'm getting some free stuff. I got a free pair of shoes. That was pretty exciting.
What'd you get? Nanos?
No, I got the Under Armour Tri-Base Reigns. So this is kind of one of the weird things about the page. So I'm followed by, I have 128,000 followers as of today, but most of the athletes follow me, and so in a very shameless moment, I went on to my story one day and said, "Hey, I'd really either like a free pair of Under Armours or a free pair of Nobles. Who's gonna give it up first?" And within minutes, and I mean minutes, Marquand Jones, who was a games athlete, competed
Yep.
last year, and he owns Roseland CrossFit in New Jersey, messaged me. He's like, "Hey, bro, what size you wear?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "I'll take the white and blues in size 11. Send them." So, I mean, I'd still like the no bowl. So if anybody has a connection, I wear size 11. I'll take any color, no questions asked. But it was, yeah, it was a pretty fun moment.
So you're sponsored, but you're willing to wear multiple brands of shoes.
Yeah, I will take whatever anybody wants to send me. I have got more shoes than Imelda Marcos, if God rest her soul. I mean, I've got I bet I've got 15 pairs of shoes, which sounds unimpressive, but you got to keep in mind I rotate them out. So if I get tired of a pair, I don't hold on to them. I just get rid of them. So
Sounds like that banking money's better than the meme money right now, at least.
at least keeps me in shoes, so that's worth something.
Now, I don't want to get too political. This isn't a political show, and I don't honestly follow a whole lot of politics, but does a little bit of you hope Trump gets reelected just to keep this going?
No, absolutely not. Actually, I don't take a stand politically, and I don't think it matters. Truthfully, I don't do political humor on the page. I do a little, only because the page itself, because it's a meme page, it lends itself to trolling. So occasionally, I'll do something both directions. I certainly don't prop one candidate up over the other. I try not to take sides, and I truthfully really don't have a side. But I will use it to my advantage where I can. Like I made a joke the other day that was, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was, I said, all I'm saying is when Obama was in office, Instagram or CrossFit still had an Instagram, and and yeah, and I had a few people just lose their minds over that. I'm like, God, Obama's been in office for 2 years. Like, maybe we need to let this go. But it's just kind of the point of a meme page. You got to troll people some. So
I don't think there's anything you can publish on the internet these days that's not going to get hate from somebody.
I saw a thing on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it has stuck with me. When I crossed about that 10,000, I started to get people that would troll me or say mean things, and I get a lot of mean emails and mean comments and whatever. And his podcast, he said, 10% of the population is just totally batshit crazy, completely. Like nothing you can do to help them. They're just completely nuts. And so I as a banker, I quickly did the math of the number of followers I had and said, okay, well, that's how many crazy people I have, right? And so, I look at the 128,000, 130,000, whatever the follower count is now, and go, okay, it'd be pretty easy to sit there and do the math on it. And that's how many people that you either are going to have to block at some point or just have to ignore their comments. And that's pretty much held true.
Yeah, Rogan's pretty infamous for saying he doesn't check any comments on any of his social media for that reason.
Yeah, see, I'm the opposite. I read as many comments as I can. I answer every single DM I get, and I get hundreds a day. So I answer every single one. I don't answer every comment. I'll certainly get in and mix it up a little where I can, or add, smart aleck comments. I think that's kind of the fun part of the page, though. I think the followers appreciate it. They want to interact. They want to be heard, so as long as they're not making things personal and, not being too rude, I'll usually let them do what they want. And, I'll go in once, though. I don't go in and just stay in the comments. You can just stay in there all day if you wanted to.
Yeah, and it probably is cool to allow that side of you come out when you're interacting. You probably have to be pretty professional, John, 9 to 5 every day. And this is a little bit of an outlet, I would assume.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, how did you get involved in CrossFit to begin with? You're in Cleveland, Ohio, and do you go to a box out there? Was that your first introduction to it?
Yeah, I got drugged to it like everybody else. You get drugged in by a friend. I was at the time doing P90X and really enjoying it and feeling pretty fit, or at least I thought I was pretty fit. A buddy of mine said, "Hey, you have to come try this thing. It's called CrossFit. It'll change your life. Hardest thing you've ever done." I'm like, okay, it can't be harder than Tony Horton. So, unbeknownst to me, it was much harder than Tony Horton. I went in and tried it, and just have honestly never looked back. I was talking to somebody about this the other day that CrossFit's the only thing in my life I've never mastered or never come close to mastering. Like I play guitar as an example, and I think I'm a pretty good guitar player. I'm good at work. Like the things that I do, I can usually get pretty good at pretty fast. CrossFit's the only thing that beats me every time I do it. And I feel like, man, I either left something on the table or I could have been better at that. And I think that's why I've just continued to go back, because it's like a Rubik's Cube that you can't solve.
Well, like Coach Glassman would say, you're chasing virtuosity. And you're never going to master CrossFit. And just like you'd probably say, you're never going to master the guitar. You're pretty good,
Right.
but you've not mastered it. What box
Right.
do you go to?
I go to CrossFit Cliffside. It's a new box. It's owned by Spencer and Saxon Panchak. Before that was training with Scott out at his gym in CrossFit Mentality, which is in Menor. It's about 30, 40 miles north of where I live. And the twins opened their box. It was 10 minutes from my house. It was a really kind of a no-brainer, and they're terrific coaches. So it was a really simple choice.
What do they think of your success out there in the meme world?
Well, I continue to remind them how many more followers I have than they do. So they enjoy that piece. They think it's funny. They're young men, really gifted athletes, really kind of funny in their own right. So it's, I think they enjoy it. They give me ideas, and it keeps, when getting to kind of hang out with them and see what they do gives me ideas to use for the memes. So it's really kind of a perfect companion. And they're both part of the podcast. They've been busy trying to qualify for sanctional or qualify for the games through sanctional. So they actually haven't had an opportunity to be a big part of it yet. But once we're kind of past this game season, they'll certainly become a much bigger part of the podcast.
So what does it look like when you get the inspiration for a new post? Is it you see something first, you hear something first, something randomly pops into your head? How would you kind of explain what goes on in the meme world?
Well, it's a lot of different stuff. So there are trends. Like I follow trends that are happening on the internet and try to apply that. You have to consume a lot of media. So I watch a lot of Netflix, Hulu, read news articles, listen to other podcasts. But really for me, like most of the inspiration all comes at once. I have a process I follow. I get up in the morning, usually between 5 and 5:30. I make a pot of coffee, sit down on the couch with my cat. I know that sounds really weird, but he hangs with me. And we sit on the couch, and I just sit there and make content. And it really, I have this weird, I call it a weird superpower, where I can see a photo and just come up with a caption. And that's usually all I do. So I'll just look for photos that look funny. And if a caption hits my mind, I just jot it down, or I, make a quick post to put it together and hold on to it for a little bit to look at it just to see if I still think it's funny. I can usually knock out 10 to 12 in an hour, hour and a half. And then my whole day's done. I go off to work and just post them throughout the day. And I usually post 8 to 12 times a day, depending on how creative I felt that morning.
So you do 8 to 12 unique posts every day?
Generally speaking, these days I'm doing some reposts. I'm picking up followers so fast. I've kind of got the luxury of doing, using some of my older posts because the new people coming in haven't seen them. And so, repurposing some content is okay. But yeah, I probably am easily creating. Yesterday I created 12 without even trying hard, of totally unique new stuff. I've done 6 or 7 today. I'm on vacation this week, so did 6 or 7 today already.
And how far out do you plan those?
I don't. The same day.
Same. So let's walk through one. I'm scrolling through your Instagram. Let's pick on a big topic. The Gerard's testing positive.
Oh man,
all right.
That consumed my whole day yesterday. I got a lot of hate mail for that, and a lot of people egging me on. It went both directions.
Did you get hate mail? Did Ricky reach out to you?
No, he didn't reach out to me.
But what's initially happening when, in your mind, all right, first of all, where do you even find out the news? The other Gerard brother, I'm not even sure his first name.
Ben.
Ben.
Brother.
So yeah. Ben Gerard tests positive. Where do you even hear that?
Well, so I caught that on Morning Chalk Up. Now I didn't ask them, but at this point I've made enough connections, so I read the Morning Chalk Up, and then I immediately start sending texts to people I know within CrossFit HQ or people that were former CrossFit media, and start asking questions like, what's going on? Is this real? But Justin, who runs Morning Chalk Up, is deadly accurate. He's, for anyone that needs CrossFit news, he's the guy to go to, man. He's really good at what he does.
Yeah, I've interviewed Justin. His episode will probably have aired before this, but yeah, I've interviewed Justin, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's really solid. So, as soon as I saw his, I'm like, okay, it's real. Like, he doesn't, you know, not post accurate stuff. And so at that point, I'm like, all right, well, you've got an athlete. In this case, it was a very unique story. Ricky had finished third at the games a couple of years ago and then got busted. So he took Vellner's spot away from him, stood on the podium. So Vellner didn't get a stand on the podium, and then he got busted for drugs. And so now it's his brother getting busted for the exact same drug. Now, I'm not his judge and jury, but that shit's just funny to me. I'm sorry, but that is an easy topic. And the thing that's, people have to understand about a meme page, and actually just the public in general, is that people don't want the nitty gritty details. Matter of fact, I still have people messaging me asking me, when did the CrossFit media team get fired? Or why did CrossFit leave Instagram? Like, this is old news. People don't read the details anymore. So when you have kind of a big picture joke like this, that people know the first athlete and it's easy to put the second one with them because it's clearly his brother and they got the same drug, like, that's the easiest joke ever to make.
It's almost like in the meme world, you have to make the easy joke, but you have to in turn make it funnier than just some Joe Schmo on the street would make it.
Yeah, so there's an art to it, and you need some creativity. And like this Gerard thing was really, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting topic because it's touchy to people. I've said for a long period of time now, you kind of have to piss off 10% of your audience to be really successful. You need people to be on edge a little. You need some of them to be mad. You mostly need them fighting with each other, not with you. So it's an easy topic to talk about. And truthfully, like, as a person who trains with games athletes, I mean, I've trained over the course of my career, and it's not career, of my journey through CrossFit.
It's a career. It's his career, yeah.
It feels like a career. I've had 6 coaches and 5 of them have made the games. So, I've got a lot vested in watching these guys train day to day, and they don't do drugs. Like, they don't do performance enhancing drugs, and so I get passionate about it. When I see somebody else taking away other people's prize money and their livelihood, it makes me annoyed. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be a good day. It's kind of the perfect storm. I'm on vacation. I got nothing better to do. Let's see what happens. And then, the first meme took off, and then the second one and the third one. And then I just kind of kept going for a while. And then even I get tired of it, so I think I gave maybe 8 when it was all said and done.
Which was your favorite of the 8 that you did?
I thought the most creative was the one where he was on the bicycle.
That's the one I was looking at. Yeah, the last time. Go ahead.
Last time a Gerard had a positive experience on a cycle. Yeah, I thought that was clever. I like a good pun. So I thought that was clever. There's a fine line. I mean, look, it was mean. I mean, I'm not even gonna sit here and defend, me roasting the guy for a full 8 to 12 hours or however long it goes on. I mean, it's, certainly I went all in on what he did was crummy, and what he did was crummy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm not sure it's much better what I did, to be honest, but that's kind of the point of a meme page is, my vision on it is that, if you're at the top, you're going to have to be able to take some people making fun of you. And for the record, people think I don't, but I get memed and posted, and like, people try to roast me. I've had people try to pick fights. They do mean posts about the work I do. Like, it comes with the territory. If you are going to put yourself out there, there's an expectation that people are going to come after you. And my feeling is, if you put yourself out there and you do something crummy, people absolutely have the right to come after you. No different than, as a banker, like, I think of Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo went out and did some really horrible business practices, and they got roasted for a long period of time. And you know what? They should have. And, whether you agree with it or not, if people do crummy things in CrossFit and take away the livelihoods of others, I'm going to call them out, and it's going to be mean. And it's just,
I mean, isn't that really what memes are to some extent too? I mean, there's funny memes, don't get me wrong, but you're also a comedian. And I mean, and I don't know if that's how you classify yourself, but you're a comedian. This is probably a newer genre, subcategory of comedian, and comedians notoriously are like, there's nothing off limits. I mean, even as far back as like after 9/11, it was like, okay, when I've heard comedians on other podcasts and like, when is it okay to joke about these things? And yeah, if you're in the public eye, that's part of it. And the CrossFit Games athlete is in the public eye.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I guess, I maybe even going to step back a little on what I said about it being mean. I mean, memes they are mean, but they're also funny. They're ludicrous. Like if you look at all the photos that I use, like most of those photos I used yesterday, the intent is that the picture itself is funny. And you're trying to convey a story through the funny picture, like a more serious story through the picture, right? So what I was attempting to do, and I think sometimes I did real well and other times were just okay, is say, hey, this is a crummy thing that was done, and then but you look at the picture and go, man, it's really funny. Like that picture makes it seem different. I don't know. I honestly don't do that a lot these days. Like I only tend to go in on people when I think it's a really kind of an egregious error. Typically the page itself is more relatable content. It's just spending time talking about the things that happen in the gym. Like today, for instance, kind of one of the posts that took off was a girl from, I think it was
Full House.
Full House. Yeah. She's running through the house going, I'm coming. And the caption was, when you hear coach go 10 seconds and you're still in the bathroom, like I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me in the gym where you go to the bathroom before the WOD's about to start and you hear the coach go 10 seconds and you're still in there and you're like, oh my God. And you're like pulling your shorts up, you're bunny hopping to the door, trying to get out there to, get to your barbell. And
That's me every workout.
yeah. And so I think, I try to keep the page more relatable than that. But occasionally when a topic comes up like this, I go all in on it because truthfully, it does two things. Number one, it generates a lot of conversation in the community. And bluntly, it generates a lot of followers for the page. I mean,
Yeah, and I
it
think
always spikes.
if you didn't, you would get people reaching out to you. Why are you not doing this?
Yeah. I did ask a games athlete yesterday, if one of my friends gets popped and I don't respond this way, am I going to be a hypocrite? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. But we would understand.
No, and I
Yeah.
mean that was actually my next question. You mentioned 5 of your 6 coaches have been games athletes,
Yeah.
and I'm certainly not accusing the Panchik brothers or anyone, but you're surrounded maybe by some athletes that have become your friends. You hear one of them, test positive for PEDs. Do they appear on Make WODs Great Again?
Probably not. I know it's hypocritical. I mean, I guess it would depend on who it was. I told the twins if they ever got popped, I'm going to roast them till they're just dust. But it's because I look at them like my little brothers.
Right.
Um, you know, but yeah, I mean, I'm like anybody else. If this were a friend or someone I considered a friend, I would probably not. I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Hopefully we'll never get there. I'm not naive. There are certainly athletes that use, and I'm sure there are athletes I know that use. I don't know they're using clearly, but I like to think everyone isn't, but I guess we'll cross it when it gets there. Fingers crossed I never get there.
Do the members at your box worry about what they do and say in front of you?
Only occasionally. Occasionally I'll have one of them go, don't meme that, or I better not see this online later. No, but usually not. But that is where I get great ideas. Like, and some of them I'll just straight up tell them, hey, I'm going to use that later, and they're like, good. They get excited that they kind of made the page or created something.
Now, you mentioned your daughter started it. Are they jealous of the success?
No, what? No, I said I did one of these not that long ago, and I said they were, and then they roasted me for it. No, there was a quick moment there where they couldn't believe I had so many more followers than them, and then now they're kind of used to it. They haven't been to any of the events with me where people see me and want to get their picture made with me, so I don't think they fully wrap their minds around like kind of how many people follow the page, even though they've seen the followers. Like they've never seen it happen live, and so I kind of want to take them to a CrossFit event just so they'll think I'm cool, even though I'm not, but we'll see.
Do you get recognized a lot out there?
At events?
Yes.
I get mobbed at events. It's ridiculous. It's the dumbest shit you have ever seen. I swear to God, it is so dumb. And don't get me wrong, I love talking to followers. I love getting my picture made with people. I love finding out where they're from. Like, I am so grateful for anyone that follows the page. So I don't want to make it sound like I don't like it, because I do like it. But it is so dumb. Like I was at the MAC and I was doing work for the MAC. So I had a press pass, and I came out where the athletes were, came out the back, And I walked out on the floor, and I had literally just stepped foot on the floor, and I hear some girl go, "Oh my God." And next thing I know, I'm like locked in a bear hug with some girl I don't know. And she's an athlete, so she's sweaty, like she'd been working out. And she's like, "I get my picture made with you." And then I got a line of like 5 people wanting their picture made with me. Like, it's just the weirdest thing. Is, which I just love the fact that people connect with the page and relate to it so much that they want to do that. It just seems weird to me, but it's fun.
Now, do you have a favorite post of all time on your Instagram?
I do. Well, there's there's a video. It's one of the video posts. It was from Key and Peele. It was the one, I forget which one of who's who. I think maybe it's Peele is playing Obama, and he's walking around, and it's the skit is where Obama meets someone who's white. He's like, "Hi, how are you?" and shakes their hand. And when he meets someone who's African American, he's like, "My brother," and like, gives, and does this hug and all this. And so over it, I've put words over every character. So every white person, I've put words like assault bike, GHDs, like all the things you would hate. And over all the African Americans, I put all the things in CrossFit you would love, like rest day. And there's the punchline of the video is he meets 3 people at once. They're all African American, and over each one I put booty shorts, and he's hugging all of them. It's really, and that one I've posted that one like half a dozen times, and it kills every time. It's just really like funny. Visually, it's really, really funny.
And that's the thing. I think people see these memes and like, oh, that's easy. I can do it. That's hard. That's very creative, and you have to get up at 5 a.m. and sit with a cat in order to do it successfully.
Some of it's easy. I will fully admit some of it is like really simple. The thing that I've noticed is watching other meme accounts and other people's accounts, it isn't so much that it's hard to do. It's whether or not it's kind of like CrossFit. You have to have the commitment to do it and consistently do it. People want consistent content. And so I give them 8 to 12 posts every single day. They know it's coming. They know what they're going to get. They know what type of content it's going to be. And, if you're willing to put in that kind of work for a long period of time, and it has to be good content, and then I vary it up. And so I think that helps, is that it's not just memes. I do commentary, I do satire, I do news articles, I roast things. I mean, there's, 7 to 8 different kind of things that I do.
What's your goal with it? Where do you want this to go? What do you foresee?
Well, my first goal is I want to get to 250,000 followers is kind of my next immediate goal. I mean, I'm at almost 130 now.
We want to double your followers.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did almost 25,000 last month. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I don't know if I can keep up that pace or not, but I'd like to do that. I'd like to really build out the podcast. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'm certainly getting plenty of interviews scheduled. We just Nicole Brazier, who's a CrossFit Games sideline reporter, is joining the podcast to help us do the news, and so we're gonna kind of build that out, maybe 2 posts a week on the podcast. I don't know, just see where it goes from there.
That's really awesome. Now you talk about the podcast. You interviewed Coach Glassman. How nervous were you getting ready for that?
Getting ready, I was probably pretty nervous. Once I got there, it wasn't so bad. We met for breakfast. We had a 2-hour breakfast. Talked forever, felt like, and then went back to the studio and talked for another hour and a half. He's easy to talk to. You got to keep in mind, like, there's not much to do. You ask him one question, and then he's going to talk for as long as he wants to talk. And that's exactly what he did. Asked him one question, he talked for 25 minutes. I asked him a second question, he answered for another 20 minutes. And this went on for about 4 questions. We got an hour and a half worth of content. So it wasn't too bad. He's a great guy. I mean, he's really accommodating, just really nice. He certainly has his opinions on things, and you're not going to sway him, but he's easy to talk to.
Did you have any question that you wish you would have asked him?
Well, I have a lot more questions I want to ask him. There was nothing in that interview that I didn't ask him. Like, I didn't hold anything back, but I also didn't throw any hard questions at him. But that wasn't the point of the interview. I've had people ask me, why didn't you ask him this or why didn't you ask him that? That wasn't really the point. Like, we wanted to talk about CrossFit Health and his vision for the company, and wanted to allow him the time to do that. And And, keep in mind, it was our very first podcast. Like, we hadn't interviewed anybody up to that point. So, certainly not going to go in there and start asking him the hard hitting questions, or, like, people want to know, what does he do for workouts, or why doesn't he CrossFit, or whether he does or not. I'm not going to go in and ask him that on the
Yeah.
first interview.
People want the dick questions, if you will. I mean, I think, and that's a very quick way to end an interview too. So it might seem easy in theory, but then A, you like and respect the guy. I don't want to be a dick. And B, once you do that, he's shut down for the rest of the interview.
Well, look, the guy, he created the thing that changed my life. Like, why am I going to go in and be a jerk to him? Right? Like, I don't agree with everything that he does, but I don't agree with everything my parents do. Like, doesn't mean I'm going to be mean to him. Like, I certainly want to go back. I do want to ask him what he does for a workout regimen. Not in a mean way. I just like to know. I don't think he's out of shape, for the record. I know.
No, people.
But he's in pretty good shape, and I want to know what he does. I already know what he eats. I've seen him eat. I had breakfast with him. He eats really healthy.
He eats very. I mean, paleo. He doesn't diverge from his plan of off the couch, off the carbs at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better. I'm excited to continue to see what you're putting out there. Anything we didn't touch upon that you'd like to share? We've got some new listeners potentially that don't know you.
No, I guess nothing additional. I mean, other than, I was serious when I said I read every DM and look as many comments as I can. So anyone that decides to follow, or that, is watching this, that is following, if you got content ideas or things you want me to touch on, or just questions, just shoot me a message. I'll get back to you as quick as I can. And, I'm really just trying to build a community over here. And, that's the fun part for me, is getting to know people. So I hope other people join and become a part of it.
Certainly will. And then one question I always ask every guest is, do you have a book that you recommend the listeners check out?
Oh, the closest thing I've had to a book lately has been Netflix.
No Freakonomics or anything, since you're in the banking world?
No, you know what? The other day I was reading a book, Sugar Free, by Corinne Thompson. She's the head of CrossFit Health. You can pick it up for like $3 on Apple. That one's actually pretty eye-opening when you're wanting to, start figuring out how to find, better health and nutrition in your life.
I'll definitely check that out. And if any of the listeners can hook John up with a pair of Nobles size 11, he's not even picky for the design, reach out to him or let me know, and I'll make sure to connect you guys. But I appreciate it, John. Thank you so much for me. Enjoy Mississippi.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Are you hitting a box while you're on the road?
Yeah, actually, I'm headed there. As soon as I'm done with you, I'm going over there actually do a podcast, CrossFit Rise to Fitness, local gym here. Just an amazing box, and they're doing some great work with teens. So I'm going to talk to them about their teen initiative. Very cool. Make sure to check them out on Instagram. Check out the podcast. I listened to your one with Coach Glassman. It was great. Like you said, he did a majority of the talking, but it was still, I can listen to that guy talk forever. So great job with that. Thanks.